I'd like to start with a question for you. And I want you to think about this throughout our time together. What transforms you? Both in the positive and in the negative. Now think about that, because while transformations are the theme here at TEDx, it's also a huge part of my life as a voice actor. Because while I spend most of my time in a little padded room talking to myself, I'm asked to transform into all sorts of different creatures and characters and people. And I love doing it. And I hope to share some of it with you now. But through a small transformation, because you look and you see 115 pounds, 5'4", okay, what can he transform into? Well, a basic transformation of just adding, say, a British accent, and I become Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi for the animated series, The Clone Wars, you see. So,
Remember, the Force will be with Ted. Always.
Right. Thank you, Master Obi-Wan. Now, if I keep the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I transform his voice to say, well, I'm a film buff. I love Christopher Walken. And I love that scene where Obi-Wan gives Luke the lightsaber, but I think about it in comparison to the Pulp Fiction scene with Christopher Walken. It might look a little different. Hello, little man. Boy, this lightsaber was your father's. You see, the way your dad looked at it, this saber was your birthright. He'd be damned if the Emperor was going to get his fat hands on his boy's birthright, so he hid it in the one place he knew he could hide something. His R2 units. A transformation. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Now, I'm asked to transform on a regular basis in the studio as well to things that you might not imagine are me, like Yabba Dabba Doo, Fred Flintstone. Bonnie! Oh, boy. Or that 11-year-old flame-headed kid on Cartoon Network, Johnny Test, who's totally awesome!
Of course, I'm also the voice that tells you what's coming up next on Animation Domination.
So, thanks. But you see, with a cup, I can transform as well and do something different, take you to a different place and time for this TED event.
Good day and welcome to TED Talks, Ideas Worth Spreading. And now, our featured speakers.
We have technology, entertainment, and design.
So TED's technology.
Yes.
What about entertainment?
That's TED too.
So who's design?
TED's who?
Well, what are you asking me for?
You see, a transformation. Now, all that and a bag of chips can transform me again. See, you never know. You never know who's transforming into what. Or I could just recreate for you a scene from one of my favorite movies. Whoa, wait a second, Doc. Oh. Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
The way I see it, Marty, if you're gonna build a time machine out of a car, why not do it with some style? Besides, the stainless steel construction made the flux dispersal. Look out!
Whoa, this TED event is heavy. These transformations I've found to be great, and with celebrities, I double their voices a lot of times, and so I'm asked to transform into them. And through my study of this, I have found there are a lot of them are very similar to each other. So you could start with one extreme, like say, Gilbert Gottfried, okay? Oh, sure, he's loud and annoying, but if we transform him a little, then you get hoo-ha, okay, Al Pacino. Transform him with a little karate, you get Hong Kong Phooey, #1 super guy.
Well, blow me down. A little transformifications, and we get, possibly an offer you can't refuse. Huh?
Now, wait a second. Will this offer include some rum? Because if so, let's change this Johnny to another. And instead of yo-ho, it's hi-yo. And we have Johnny Carson. All right? Okay. We've got a super TED Talk for you. I don't know. Wait for it. 2 TEDx speakers walk into an elevator. One turns to the other, says, "When do we meet Ted?"
It's a tough crowd. So you see, this is me using my abilities for transformation in the positive. And you, every person in this room, has those positive transforming abilities within inside you. So many of you do voices and love doing them. Do them, they're fun. Recognize them, use them, put them into action every day and change the world around you, okay? You can make lists. I love making lists of the things that I transform into in the positive. I journal about them, and I have friends that keep me accountable to them because you want to always do that. But, the thing is it doesn't have to be how you make your living either. Now, I love cooking. And I can transform a meal for my family, and they would much rather me transform food than into other characters. After 23 years of marriage with my wife, the last thing she needs is me doing another scene from Back to the Future. Well, wait a second. Whoa, you mean to tell me dinner's... Okay, enough McFly, okay? So find the treasures in your day-to-day and transform yourself in the positive. Because this is such an important thing. And if they call me to do the voiceover that is the trailer of your life, I don't want to get in there and say something like, critics are calling it so-so. Not one of this year's best. No. I want it to be one that is a story that will touch your heart, not make you believe your darkest fears have come true. Now see, as someone that spends their time in the little padded room doing voices of superheroes, I tend to look at the darkest fears and the negative transformations as the kryptonite in my life. So when I ask all of you what transforms you, I also want you to think about what is the kryptonite in your life. Of course, we know kryptonite to be the radioactive pieces of Superman's home planet of Krypton. It was toxic to him. If he was around it enough, it would kill him, okay? So find the kryptonite in your life as much as you need to find the positive. Recognize it and know how it is going to change you. 7 years ago, I ran into my kryptonite. Never would have expected it. It was in the form of black toxic mold growing in the walls of my house. My wife and I had just bought a home. We were about to adopt our daughter from China. And we were very excited. And this was the dream home. But it quickly turned into a nightmare when I ran my hand down a wall once because it seemed like there was moisture on it, and it fell right in. I breathed the mold in, got in my lungs, got in my throat. I woke up one morning, and I had no voice. I couldn't talk. And there wasn't a chance that I was going to be able to just rest overnight and get better. Went to my doctor, who was a specialist in this. He looked at me and said one word after looking at my throat. Yuck. Not something I wanted to hear. The next thing he said, you have to stop talking. And I went, this is my dream. This is what I love doing. They wanted to put me on medications pretty much indefinitely to help keep the infections at bay. I had massive infections and laryngitis. And I had to ask myself, is this transformation something I want? No. But is it necessary to transform me into the next level of my life? Yes. And whatever it is that I'm going to transform into, I accept that. And I'm going to take it, and I'm going to make the most out of it. Well, I found a holistic approach to it. Instead of going to Western medicine, I went on a macrobiotic diet, a vegan diet. And I cleansed my system of the mold. It took several years. I dropped down to about 95 pounds. And I was very, very weak for a very long time. But somehow, I maintained the work. And I'm very, very grateful for that. The crazy thing is, the day I was diagnosed was February 13th, 2005. And on that day, I remember saying a little prayer, asking for help. and that this isn't a bad thing, that this transformation isn't bad. And I found out 6 months later when we got our little girl that that was the day she was born. So I don't hold these transformations lightly. We're all here to make a difference. We're all here to be transformed and to transform everybody else. I guarantee someone that you're sitting next to is going through a transformation at this point, and it might be really hard, and it could be painful. Waking up and going, how do I make my living? What am I going to do? Was painful, but you know what? I got through it through that belief. So that's the message I want to give you is please, please, write down your dreams, write down your goals, know what they are, go after them. It doesn't have to change this world, it has to change your world. So know what your kryptonite is and know how it changes you, but also know how it's going to make you stronger by knowing that it exists and that it will weaken you if you go near it. Some things we just have to stay away from. There's toxic environments, there's toxic people, there's toxic food, there's all these things. Know them, write them down, stay away from them. Don't go into them thinking I can handle it, because eventually it catches up. So I am so moved to find like movies that move me and motivate me. I don't know how you are. Do you find a good movie can motivate you and get you going? A good piece of music? Keep those things nearby. Find them. When you're down, listen to them. Play them. Watch them. If you're somebody that loves it when the music swells.
And the hero says, we shall be transformed. We will not end this battle in defeat. We will win.
That's my movie, you know, that's how I am. But you may actually be the opposite. You may need a beautiful piece of music or some space away in nature, a beautiful painting, a great poem, or a simple soft voice saying you are loved and that you're here to do great things. Every person in this room is here to do amazing, great things. Perhaps you're inspired by your children. I know I am. A great dinner with friends in conversation. But whatever it is, be inspired. Be alive this weekend. And through it all, be transformed. Good and bad in our lives, they help us. They make us grow. But remember that all of these things you can get through, and you will. They're your dreams. It's your life. Be transformed by it all. I am honored to speak with you all, and I thank you so much for your time today. Enjoy your weekend, and God bless.